About to watch Mr. MBB333 cover this massive fire in China that engulfs an office building that is eerily reminiscent of the Grenfell Tower that burned in the same fashion. That might be directed energy, and it might be part of the natural phenomenon as these giant office towers and apartment building towers, which was what Grenfell was, act as a giant lightning rod going up into the ground and down into the ground. And as I've discussed before, a fluctuation in the magnetic field creates a surge of ground current. So a big lightning rod sticking down into the ground might also be responsible for or part of the process by which this happens.
Rainfall totals here in just a moment for Puerto Rico. Quick story out of central China. A very tall building somehow or another caught on fire today. And you can see here in these dramatic photos, the tall building, 656 feet tall, was engulfed in flames from top to bottom. Not a whole lot of details about this event right now, but you can find this link down below in the description box at the nypost.com. And I also went over to Zoom Earth looking in this region, Changsha, China. It's in central China, and I was looking for possible smoke because that was a very large fire, looking for smoke up in the sky, visible from space over here at zoom.earth. And you can see there was some cloud cover, and I didn't see any smoke pertaining to.
So in this part, he's trying to tie it into what he normally does, because otherwise, what is Mr. MB3 doing covering a building that caught fire in China? Oh, look, I'm over here on my overhead satellite cam, seeing if I can see any smoke. That's what I do. That's what this part's about. Because he tells you, I wasn't able to see any smoke, then why did you show us this part where you went over on the satellite cam looking for smoke if you weren't able to see any when you went and looked? To tie it into what he normally does, to make it seem like something he would cover. Otherwise, there's no reason to come show you where he looked, where he didn't find anything. Right? Get it? That's what this part is about. To tie it into what he normally does and make it seem like just something that's part of what he does. Because I was looking for smoke from the overhead satellite cam. You know, that's what I do. So here's those 3 still frame images that he shows us. And when he said there's not a lot of details on this story right now, there won't be a lot of details on this story in the future either. That's the details you get right there. And I'll come back to it and show some of these images a little more close up. But first, let's go check out the Grenfell Tower fire. These are images of Grenfell Tower, and you can see by the timestamp on it, June 14th. I think this all happened in 2017, because this one is May of 2017. June, probably, I'm pretty sure it was in 2017. Either way, you can see that by the timestamp, this is 4 a.m., 5:30, 6:12. So it happened that quickly. And the other thing that makes these fires seem a bit unusual is that the whole building burns from top to bottom simultaneously. In a real fire, let's say it starts here, and that's the other weird thing about this, it didn't burn the bottom 5 floors. Let's say it starts here and moves its way up. By the time it gets up here, these floors have already burned out. The fuel has already been burned because it takes a little while for it to move upwards through the floors. So by the time these floors up here are burning, these floors down here have already burned out, and it takes an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 for it to burn its way up through the floors if it's a regular fire. The other thing I'll be pointing out is this big diagonal bright streak going right here. So that's the Grenfell Tower. It was an apartment complex in Canada or Britain? British Columbia. I think it was in Canada. No, I think it was in London. I'll have to check. But I do know Jamie Lee from A Plain Truth covered the Grenfell Tower fires as a directed energy attack on quite a few of his videos, but he's on to like A Plain Truth 11, 12, 13, 14 now, and they've erased his channel so many times, he may or may not even have the Grenfell Tower coverage that he's done up on his current channel. This is the thumbnail I just took a screenshot of from, I think it was a BBC documentary coverage of the Grenfell Tower fire. That's what the tower looked like afterwards, and as you can see, the bottom didn't burn. Bit curious, eh? Here's that diagonal stripe going up the side of the building. Like it's some sort of conductive wire going up the side of the building at a diagonal at a 45-degree angle that's getting red hot. Otherwise, what is that line going through the building that's burning brighter and hotter and more intense than anything else around it? What is that, where someone poured the gasoline? Or is that an electric filament, like a bolt of lightning? Is that where the electricity is coursing its way through the building, is along that path that might be the path of least resistance, a conductive and extra conductive wire that holds the building together like a suspension bridge type of thing? I don't know what that is. But this conductive, this diagonal bright stripe burning along the building, just as equally bright from top to bottom, is a good clue that this isn't a fire as we normally know fires. And that this fire has an electrical component to it, whether it's part of the natural phenomenon as part of the magnetic pole shift that we're going through, or if it's directed and intentional. That diagonal extra bright burning spot draws my attention in and raises big questions. So now back to that burning in building in China. Okay, that's not helping. You can see that it burned in a very similar way, from top to bottom, equally, simultaneously, all the floors at once. So basically, this is the Chinese version of Grenfell Tower. And it didn't happen anything like normally and naturally as we understand fires. It had some assistance, some sort of accelerant. And that accelerant, I believe, was electromagnetic. Magnetic induction is one name for it, or field-activated combustion synthesis is what James Grundvig termed it. Again, just to close it out, there's Grenfell Tower, before, during, and after. And it did happen in Britain, otherwise the BBC wouldn't be the ones covering it. Here's the tower in China. Plasma fire. Regardless of whether or not it's intentional and directed, these are plasma fires.